Dylan here. Today we will be going over a ticker symbol analysis on the ticker symbol TSLA Tesla. Before we get to the video, just want to let you know this will be a price prediction using technical analysis. This won't have anything to do with news. Let's get straight to the video. So right away, guys, congratulations. If you've seen the last few videos, we were at a very critical spot. We had this nice bull flag pressing down into this key support zone, which we've been mentioning for the last couple of weeks. We finally got over this major level. We've yet to really hold over for a couple of days. Price gets over, it gets jammed. Price gets over, it gets jammed. Comes up, gets immediately rejected. Now we had a nice bull flag printing along that. We talked about this in the last video, and we've had quite a move since. So we have some things to cover. With that being said, let's start off in the weekly analysis time frame to get a broad bird's eye perspective of what the stock looks like, and then we'll get a little bit closer until eventually we're in the hourly time frame. Alrighty, guys, look at the weekly time frame. We clearly do see that nice support zone we've been mentioning for weeks gave that bounce, which we were expecting. Okay, we're starting to see that really come to fruition as, with this whole general range in the past, with this very nice run up. And since then, it's just been pain, over the last, 8-10 week of this duration. And we mentioned how we were hanging out in these lows, and we're looking to get this next move up, guys, to see, how similar of a movement we can get within this big run up. Okay, that's to be determined. We'll be speaking too far ahead if we start saying those price targets, but on the weekly analysis, you clearly see, right, we had a nice tight range. We went all the way up, and now we came back down to the same zone. And now we're breaking over this top of this range, trying to set some new highs. So it's clear right away as far as the weekly perspective. Definitely got to be bullish on the chart as we came down a very nice support zone, a landing zone, whatever you want to call it, and had a nice bounce. So we're starting to see that come to fruition on the weekly time frame, which we've been waiting for a couple of weeks now to see this really break up out of these highs around 290, that general range, to push up. So from a weekly analysis, you do see a little bit of a gap, right? You see around that 307.65. There is a little bit of a gap. So we'll be following that, but not a whole lot we can get from the weekly. We're seeing this reversal, right? 1, 2, 3, hopefully, right? We're seeing that pattern come into play. So as far as the weekly perspective, we're looking good. We're looking bullish, but we got to go to the daily to get more perspective. Alrighty, guys, looking at the daily time frame, we see right away that $295 level, which we've been mentioning over the last few weeks. We broke right over that. We filled the gap. We've been mentioning how there's zero resistance after this 295. We have a straight, clear runaway to 324.40, and we've actually done that in 2 days, which is very abnormal as each day, Tesla moves about roughly $15, $20, give or take. But we had a very aggressive run up, gap up, pushing right to that zone with a little bit of drop towards the end of the day with buyers defending these lows. So right away, if we take away all the resistance and support zones, it is very, very interesting how we do have these 3 candles after a run up. It is definitely pretty rare, as we do this nice head and shoulders pattern inverse. You have the shoulder here, you have the head here, and then you have the other shoulder. This is a very bullish pattern in this general zone, right? And breaking over, you usually see these nice big green bars on Tesla, just very straight up, usually no rejection. But we have seen some wicks on the daily time frame. But all that's going to show is that there's a lot of volatility as far as the intra perspective. You still got to say it's a very nice, clean breakout. We broke right up out of this bull flag we mentioned, squeezed up against this major descending resistance and bouncing on this major support level, which was prior resistance. So as of now, guys, there's a lot of interesting signs as far as the daily perspective. We will jump over to hourly really quick to really get the most we can out of this stock, as it's in a very interesting spot. But the main thing, guys, we're going to want to keep an eye on the daily time frame is this gap. This is a very key gap around that 307.60 level, as 95% of gaps within the market do get filled, but when it gets filled is the real question. So if we do some short-term pullback and the buyers do decide to step up, this would be the first level you'll see. You'll see the stock come down to this level, try to find a base. And if it does, this could be very well the next the higher low to print, to retest these resistance levels. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. We did mention how there was zero resistance between this 295 and this 324.40 level, but now having this daily gap up, we'll be keeping an eye on that 307.60. So this is why, I always say that this is a liquid conversation. TA is based off implied probability, which changes on a daily perspective. So now we're in another zone to watch, guys. So keep that in mind. But as far as the daily perspective, man, once again, I mentioned down in this zone how we're in between these two zones. We're bouncing around. Same thing, guys, now, right? We're at this 307.60 level to this 324.40. Whatever one of these levels do get breached first, it will likely go and determine the next few couple days of trend, whether it will go up and start to go higher, or maybe we'll start to drag, bounce around this level, or potentially just sink below and try to find another base before potentially going higher. So things look good as far as the daily perspective. Alrighty, guys. Now we're getting to the meat potatoes as looking on the hourly time frame. We've seen a really big pattern play out on the hourly, guys. When we look on the daily real quick, we had this nice panic forming up, which we mentioned that was pressing against this resistance at a 260 level. But when you look on the hourly, we had another bull flag pattern that was quite clean, pressing up against this level, and then boom, big breakout. We're bouncing amongst these two zones, this resistance area right here, and this support. And within that, we actually formed a bullish flag descending pattern, which is very, very nice. A lot of retail traders don't see these patterns. When you get a couple candles to pop right back up, the real test that this is still a formulated pattern is that it still follows plan, right? We had one test in the wick right here. We had the open of this big candle right here pressing up against it. Then we came up, tested once, twice, and a couple tests, over here roughly. So until that zone, we're seeing boom, a very nice run up, another flag printing out right on this support level, which was resistance, and then boom. So we're seeing a very similar trajectory, guys. Tesla on the hourly time frame continues to make these bull flag like structures, even as far as this overview over here, right? We have a very similar downward channel, right? This nice move up, and then it's getting pretty tight, boom. So we've continued to see this play out as far as an hourly time frame analysis on Tesla. And we are seeing another one of these forming out, right? Seeing a nice squeeze up, nice tight, boom, nice squeeze up, boom. So we'll see if we get that next follow through. It's a little bit more tricky as we are right under this resistance level, which we mentioned on the daily time frame, that 324.40. But we'll be keeping an eye on this, guys. There's a good chance that maybe we do play out in this for a couple more hours, get a little bit more structured as far as what we're looking like for this pattern. But keep an eye on that, guys. We have the flagpole-like structure, just as we did here. This boom, this big move up. Now we have a gap up in this area, but a big move up, followed by it's starting to pinch out. So we keep an eye on this a couple times a week. We'll see how this pinches out, but that's the major thing we'll be watching as far as an hourly perspective. And to wrap up the video, guys, we're going to keep it very, very simple. We'll be keeping an eye on this 307.60 level, as that's the major gap up zone we'll be watching, right? As you see, stock has this area where it gapped up. So we'll be keeping an eye on 307.60. If we do have a little bit of a dip, that should be the first support area where stock looks to bounce. If that doesn't happen at 307.60, we'll be looking to come back at that 295 zone, this very, very heavy resistance. If we do come down to that, it could be a great dip buying opportunity, dip buyer step up, but I don't think we'll come down to that. I think at this point, maybe a couple of day pullback. It could happen, a little bit of consolidation, guys, but we're looking really bullish. We have this inverted head and shoulders breaking out right at the neckline. It's nice bull flag pressed down. We have a lot of confirmation on every single time frame. And the last thing we'll be mentioning before you guys get out of here is the major resistance level we'll be watching, which have been very, very spot on for Tesla. It's almost come to a T, exact cent. So keep an eye on these guys. 324.41. 324.40, that general area. There'll be some major resistance. 348.19 to 348, that general area, and then 362. These are the main levels we'll be watching. Once again, once we break over 324.40, there will be another gap area. As we mentioned, once we break over this neckline, there will be no resistance until this point. Well, we found that really, really quick within 2 days. Whether we get that similar move up and just plow right to the next zone, to be determined. This is a very liquid conversation in the moment, but we'll be watching these major levels. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you found any value, like, subscribe, all that. We have a couple markers we'll be watching for the next few days moving forward. But as of now, man, we're seeing a nice bullish stock breaking out. We've expected this over the last few weeks. So to see this come and, come to fruition and seeing this, more grand weekly reversal coming down, curling up, things look good as far as a long-term perspective on Tesla short term. A lot of the boxes are checking out. So if you guys enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, all that. And I hope you have a good day.